Here we are in the heart of Chandigarh to meet one of India's most decorated Olympians, without whom Free India's love affair with hockey would have never blossomed. The man behind the Olympic hat-trick, 1948, 1952, 1956 Summer Olympics, the hockey gold came thanks to the stick of the great Balbir Singh Senior. Well, here we are with the legend. They say he's 95, but whatever time we've spent with him, he's still that 5-year-old who was given the hockey stick. Hockey brings a big wide smile on his face. Sir, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much for coming here to interview me.
And I hear this is your favorite dress, not just for interviews. Your daughter told me this is your favorite outfit for all times.
That's the only outfit I have.
But whenever you wear it, how proud do you feel whenever you wear this blazer which has all the 3 Olympics?
With this pocket.
Yes, with this pocket.
Representing Olympic, that's a big thing. Then winning gold medals, still higher than winning not 1, 2, 3 gold medals. And the credit of that goes to my team. I was one of them. I won't like to take the credit, though I scored goals. I was the match winner. But credit goes to my team. I was just a player.
Did you have any childhood role model? Did you have anyone you looked up to? There was obviously no television at that time, limited access, but...
Childhood, I always say, as a kid, I said Dhyan Chand Sahib, the movie. At that time I thought, I will play like him, as center forward and try to beat his records.
When we come to 1948, it's only fair we tell the viewers. Even before that, everyone talks about the gold hat trick that came with Major Dhyan Chand's team, but that was still for the Union Jack. It was still for an India that was not free. The first time an Indian tricolour went up, that was 12th August.
India.
After independent India, that was 12th August 1948.
First time on tricolour. London. In the country of our foreign masters, on their playground, we won them.
But when you saw the tricolour go up, because this is the first time, it wasn't the Union Jack, and son of a freedom fighter who scored 2 goals in the final.
That was more important. My father always was to, हमारा अपना राज होगा, अपनी government होगी, अपना यहाँ सारा control होगा. He was the happiest person that his son played for the country, played against the former rulers, won the match. Very happy. Till for the first time he said this like this. Otherwise, generally fathers, to play with the kids, he never played with me like that.
Sir, from 48, 1952, Helsinki.
Helsinki. Tera at Helsinki was my shirt number. And those children, unlucky, when we won and I scored 5 out of 6 goals
in the final.
All 3 in semi-finals and the final 8 out of 9 goals. किसी ने मुझे जादूगर नहीं कहा.
That record, which still stands today, let me tell the viewers, 8 out of the 9 goals scored in the semi-finals and the finals, and 5 out of the 6 scored in the final. It's a Guinness Book of World Records, which is still standing more than 6 decades on, and even a world record. So maybe the word wizard wasn't used, but legends is probably...
those kids, very lucky number, very lucky number.
Even when you were the flag bearer, something else had happened, right? Something which
52,
is very lucky.
56, I was flag bearer.
But it was because 13 आपने बात करी, उसमें total 13 goal लगे थे. I can't get over the fact 8 out of the 9 goals in the semi and finals. That is just brilliant. There's a good reason why that record is still not broken, and you don't see it happening anytime in the near future as well.
I give credit to the team always.
How did you make goal scoring so easy? What was the trick? What was your practice?
One is practice, 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 practice. No magic, all practice. Practice in practice. Harbair saying, come on, bring the ball from a shoot, bring the ball from left, shoot, bring the ball from center, shoot. After normal training, he would make me shoot at the goal for 1 hour.
This is after training.
Harbair, Khalsa College.
But we forgot 1956. Because 1956, you've gone in as a captain, the team's expecting a lot. You suffered a fracture in the first game.
Unfortunate that I got my hand hurt. I won't be able to play this. But still, when they formed the team, they played me. And this was kept a secret.
So the opposition never knew
No.
that your finger was fractured, and there were always two people after you.
It was a big secret.
And you got the hat-trick of golds. So this, of course, is the story of the 3 Olympic gold medals that independent India won. This is 1948, 1952 and 56. But then you weren't going to sit still. 1975, then as, of course, the coach, manager, team going on to win the only World Cup. So it's an incredible journey. And the more you dig into it, the more the gravitas comes out. You've always given country first. But how did the love of hockey transform into this worship?
Hockey first. Hockey, my first love. So hockey helped me. Thank God, school. Thank God, my father bought me a first hockey stick. He was very happy. Tricolor flying all the time. Tricolor, tricolor, tricolor.
As once you rightly said, that your love for hockey, the love affair began in London, you married in Helsinki, and you honeymooned in Melbourne.
Melbourne, that's how you
Thank you so much for the memories. Thank you so much for honouring our show, The Legends. Couldn't find a bigger name than you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Indian captain Kapil Dev catches out the great West Indian batsman Sir Viv Richards.
I wouldn't say it was difficult catch, but it was very important catch for Indian history.
And that's out. Yes, it's all over this time.
This catch leads India to win the World Cup, a high point in a country whose cricketing history has always mirrored India's emergence as a nation. This came in the late 70s when from Chandigarh in the north came an all-rounder with real aggression and attitude. This was Kapil Dev, a warrior with the bat.
The faster the ball comes, the faster you send it back.
And what was new for India, a warrior with the ball.
Catch. Good ball too. 4 wickets to Kapil Dev.
And he's given him out. Kapil Dev was 2 wickets now to his name, as it looks like.
My aggression was, let's play from the front. Perhaps my previous generation of cricketers, they didn't know how to win matches. For them, saving the test match was as good as winning the test match.
At Lord's in 1983, Kapil Dev was captain of a team who were underdogs in a one-day World Cup final against the formidable West Indians. The West Indians were 50 for 2 when Sir Viv Richards came in and began to lay into bowler Madan Lal.
Let's have some more.
Then the catch that would change the course of the game.
I don't remember much. I just went, it's the reflexes take over. And I saw the ball in the air for a while and I start running sideways. Halfway through, realize it's within my reach. I went with the motion and I was lucky I was there.
And that's out. Yes, it's all over this time. Lost his nerve in the end, and Michael Holding tried to swing that straight ball with the leg. It's another wicket for Amarnath. Now delighted he looks.
I don't remember what exactly happening. I want to hold on to the cup, and they were giving me, and I want to push it back. I think I was totally spaced out at that time, and I just took the cup. What they were saying with that noise, I don't remember. I don't remember at all.
My breakthrough year, I also got my first rating. Very often I have won something when I had no expectations whatsoever. You can appreciate the slower things only when instant pleasures are not available. Somewhere deep inside I knew that it no longer mattered if I played a good championship or not. The only thing that mattered was winning. My destiny was to become world champion, and therefore it was only a question of time.
Yes, I'm with the first Indian Grandmaster of Chess, the first recipient of the Rajiv Gandhi Khel Ratna Award, the first sportsperson to be awarded the prestigious Padma Vibhushan. So let me welcome Vishwanathan Anand, as we fondly call him, Vishy, but I think Anand would be a better way to go about it, wouldn't it?
Yes, well, Anand is actually my name. Right. Vishy is my dad, but people have been calling me Vishy for so long, I'm used to both names.
This is a sport which has its roots in Indian civilization, in ancient Indian civilization. How does it feel to be the first Grandmaster of a sport that essentially was played about 15 years ago for the first time in this country? Do you look back at it and say, wow, it's actually been 1500 years and I was the first Grandmaster?
Sometimes, I mean, it's mentioned in the Arthashastra, and it's got roots going back. It does feel like something has come back home.
Do you have memories of how that journey began?
Yes, quite strongly. I remember that I went and pestered my mother to teach me how to play. I remember the summer holidays of 1983. I went to the club. I was going to play summer holidays, so I could play a lot more and freely. So I started going and entered all the open tournaments they had scheduled in those months. Then in October that year, I won the National Sub-Junior Championship in Goa, Panaji. A few months later, I played the National Championship and finished fourth. And then a month or two later, I won the National Junior Championship again in Goa. And then it was time for me to represent India in the World Sub-Junior in '84. So we're talking literally less than a year, but
a couple
10,
of
11 months.
That's right.
And my life had changed in chess. So my big breakthrough year. I actually had uninterrupted success from 2002 April till the end of 2004. Because I had realized by that point it's more important to keep playing well than to play in a world championship. It's more satisfying to play a good game of chess, even when it's for very low stakes, than it is to play for high stakes but to play a bad game of chess. That was the feeling that I had at that point. Chess should excite you. If it feels like work, and this was what I had learnt in 2001, you stop getting better even if you're doing everything right. So 2007-8 is glorious. In fact,
best period.
I won 2 chess Oscars for that period.
That's right.
And in fact, in 2009, I won the Padma Vibhushan for that performance. I did some training in 2009 and then played the match in 2010. I went and played the 12th game, and I got in my idea, and I was very happy.
The world #1 ranking, might have fluctuated in this period, but the India #1 ranking is a bit of a mystery that I need you to solve, because there's a theory doing the rounds that since you got it, you've held on to it. But there's also a theory doing the rounds that you lost it for a few minutes maybe, or a few hours, and that was just something strange that happened overnight or something like that. And
Yeah, so I believe I became India number one in 85 sometime. I was not even aware of it. This apparently happened sometime in 2016. So for a few seconds, I was not number one, India number one. No, the first time I was not. But I don't know that this even happened. It's just quite recently, yeah, this journalist Sagar suddenly mentioned to me, Sagar Shah, he told me, no, for a few hours or something, you were not number one. I said, really? I have no recollection of this. And he said, no, you were not number one. And I don't even remember when it was. So I was blissfully unaware of it till he brought it up, which I have to thank him for, by the way.
Can I just tell you the truth?
But it apparently happened. Otherwise, I've been India number one since 85, I think. And
can I just tell you that in the entirety of my lifetime, I haven't known another India number one. Shanathan Anand, you've been an absolute champion, not just a world champion, but an icon of sport, a pioneer of chess and Indian sport. It's been a pleasure and a privilege to sit alongside you amongst this fabulous house of yours with these chess boards. Thank you so much for your time and your company.
Thank you.
This is the story of a remarkable man, a humble man, a man touched by genius and bound by obsession. It's a story about adulation and acclaim, fame, fortune, and a glowing talent forged in the furnace of a nation's expectation. This is the story of Sachin Ramesh Tendulkar.
This really is Tendulkar's home. This is where the journey started, Ranji Trophy cricket. This is where it ended, and that's why I'm delighted that he's here. It's about here that all started. Bend down, touch the ground was a big moment for you.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a different feeling to be here in the middle.
You used to come here very early in the morning, all by yourself. We came a little early too, and I just put my ears like that. And I thought I heard the Sachin going around the ground. Maybe it's just embedded in the chairs and the stands here.
Sometimes it's nice not to have anyone in the stadium, and that's when I used to be here. I used to be here like 7ish in the morning, even before the groundsman turned up. And I would train here, just walk around, do my own things. Just being alone was something different. And I still cherish those moments because, it allowed you to be in a different space altogether, and, allowed you to think about the game and just, be in love with what you like to do.
Your story of the World Cups, and this ground has a role to play in the story of the World Cup as well. You started 92, but you were here in 87, weren't you?
I was, in fact, here as a ball boy. Right there, sitting in front of the dressing room.
So you were only 14 then when that happened, but your World Cup story started in Australia, the Sydney game against Pakistan.
Yes, because I hadn't experienced that kind of atmosphere till then. Till venue where India-Pakistan played a World Cup match, I had not experienced anything like that.
For India, it was a disappointing World Cup, that 92 World Cup, finishing 7th out of 9 teams. But then you came. It was in India. It was in 96, and then the pitch, like a character in the movie, suddenly turned.
Crumbled.
2003 was a very interesting World Cup for you. There was, of course, a great innings against Pakistan. 2011, all the drama, and even your teammates were saying, let's win it for Sachin. Now, for Sachin himself, was there pressure saying, hang on? I mean, I think there was only one player who said, let's win it for India. And I'm sure you would have been among those who said, let's win it for India. But that everyone is saying, let's win it for Sachin, was that putting more pressure on you? I mean, forget the people in the hotels, forget people like us writing about it, forget everyone around, but your own players saying...
No, there was no pressure. I knew, and also my teammates, this was my last World Cup. When we returned from 2007, my brother and a couple of my friends told me that, 2011, Wankhede Stadium finals. Imagine holding that beautiful trophy.
Are you serious? Is that?
Yes.
Yeah?
I mean, it was just after 2007 was such a huge disappointment, and then various thoughts entered my mind, and it was just to make me think positively and start doing something about the next World Cup. Start
And inevitably it was here.
And it was here, this ground. And the first match after they rebuilt the stadium. So amazing atmosphere. I mean, I still remember everything precisely how it all happened. And I kept sitting in the dressing room, and I didn't watch the winning shot. And
that's incredible. You tell that story in your book. It's incredible.
Not only kept telling me, let's go out. I said, no, just sit here and pray. I was praying. I was praying for whatever is best for Indian team. Please do that, God. And we were praying. So I said, only when the winning shot is scored, I'm going to go out, because I can always go back to my room or watch the action replays and all that. But we should win. And after we won, the entire nation just
Sehwag forgiven you for missing out on the winning shot? Because you didn't let him go out either.
No, I didn't let him go out. I said, keep sitting here next to me. See, those are the moments which stay with you forever.
Yeah. There was a child in you that came running out. The person who came running down those steps there, running out into the middle, wasn't this grizzly old veteran who'd been playing for so long. It was that child again that came running down the steps. It was a child that was running around here.
You have to be like that. Once you've crossed the ropes and you're a player, you have to be like a child, and that is something which allowed me to play for 24 years.
Another innings is starting, and I mean, it's tough to imagine you without a World Cup, imagine you without cricket, but yet another innings is starting, and there's going to be a philanthropic Tendulkar to be seen in future?
Yeah, the first innings was all about, chasing my dreams, and it was all
getting bowlers to chase the ball.
and excitement and all that. Also, I found a couple of years ago when, just talking with a couple of guys, I found difficult to accept that, in 2012, there were many villages in India, they don't have access to electricity. So life comes to standstill after sunset. Life cannot be in darkness after sunset till the sunrise. I mean, we are in 2012. And that's one thing that I would want to change, is to light up as many villages as possible. And that initiative, we've named it Spreading Happiness India Foundation. It's about lighting up villages, providing them a fair opportunity to realize their dreams. It's impossible for me to do it alone, all by myself. It's going to require a lot of support, a lot of effort from all directions.
You can look into that and say, guys, help me. Yeah.
Please do it. It's a wonderful dream to chase, and then lighting up the entire nation would be fantastic.
Well, I've got with me one of the greatest men's doubles and mixed doubles tennis players of all time. They call him the Marathon Man, they call him the Iron Man, they call him Magic Hands. How did you evade that whole getting into football culture, living in Cal, and then get into tennis, even before 1990 happened?
Well, I've got a Bengali background from my mum, and I've got a Portuguese background from my dad. So football was part of growing up. It was part of my blood, part of culture, and I've always believed that I've been more talented at football than I've been at tennis.
And that pursuit of excellence, or the wanting to excel at the field that you eventually chose in tennis, took you to Chennai first of all, before obviously you went on to world events as a junior.
My dream was always to be an Olympian. My dream was always to win and covet an Olympic medal. I wasn't quite sure at that point in which sport. I wasn't quite sure where my directions were taking me. But I always knew that the Olympics was my calling. If you control your mind today, your tennis will look after itself. As a young Indian boy, standing on the podium with Andre Agassi on my side and Sergio Bruguera, medal on my neck, with those flowers in my hand, the Indian tricolour on my shirt, the Indian tricolour in my heart, greatest thing I've ever done.
Let me just flirt with the idea of taking you a little forward in time, of course, where, of course, the Rajiv Gandhi Khel Ratna Award happened, which means the government also recognized the achievement, and the country recognized, what you'd done for them when you stood on that podium with a bronze medal. What was the feeling like when you came home in the next couple of years, just trying to find yourself again on the world tour with a bronze medal now? That was only yours.
Coming back home was just euphoric. The streets of Delhi were lined up. The airport was just, I can't even count how many people that were there, just on my reception. Going to the Rashtrapati Bhavan and being honored there with our president, our prime minister, and with all the Indians that were out there who shared that medal with me. For me, the medal in Atlanta was not just mine. To me, the medal in Atlanta in singles was not just my family's. To me, that medal, every single piece of that bronze medal, which for me is worth its weight in platinum, was to prove to India that we could be individual champions. We could excel in a sport. And even though it was not a gold or not a silver, but being in an individual sport at that time, the perseverance in a global sport like tennis, which is just so competitive, to get that medal was important for me to share with the whole country. To prove that if this young kid from Calcutta with not much talent, not great height, just a lot of perseverance and hard work and a great family and system around me and team around me that I developed, if I can achieve excellence, then any Indian on the planet can achieve excellence.
On the show today, the one and only man who showed us the silver lining at the end of long dark periods in Indian Olympic history, Colonel Rajyavardhan Singh Rathore.
Thank you so much.
Lovely to meet you, sir. Absolutely no introduction needed, especially for our generation, because we were always growing up and saying, when will we have an individual medal? And there it was one morning when we woke up. But wanting to actually go back in time, let's take you to an early childhood. Where did it all start? Chili, as you were nicknamed. How did it all begin for Chili? What were you like as a young kid growing up with a bit of army background, with obviously different dreams? What was it like?
I think very ordinary, I would say. I did grow up in a military base, so I had a lot of sporting activities happening all around. But like any other kid, backbenchers in the class, always making moves or sports rather than follow the mathematics teacher. But playing in the corridor, playing in the school ground, but always playing, always thinking of playing. Never even dreamt of something of the level of Asian Games or Commonwealth Games.
NDA, was it by design? Did you always know that that is the next step, that you will be part of NDA, then move on to IMA?
In a way, I grew up in, so I'm from Rajasthan, and Rajasthan in our country has a tradition of guns. So, and being in the army, I had guns all around me. So I never thought of a career without guns. So it was either the police or the army. So that way, yes, my life started with guns and ended with guns, sort of.
Do you think, in terms of double trap, also the barrels, the shotgun, the size of it, because you mentioned it was Rajasthan, it was a bit of legacy, it was something that maybe fascinated you. So is that one of the reasons you never took up anything else, whether it was pistol or anything else, particular liking for this big gun?
The pistols with static targets, punching holes, wasn't very exciting. But shooting something that was flying, which were these clay targets, which was great fun.
How tough was that phase when you decided you want to take up this sport? For you to be a shooter, to get sponsorship, to arrange for just everything?
The scenario was that if you told anyone that you're part of the Olympic team,
they would look you up and down and sort of give you that look that because of you, we get humiliated internationally, right? If you went to any of the sponsors and you said that you don't play cricket, but you're looking for sponsorship, we'll show you the exit door, all right? So I used all these things as energy to move further ahead with greater determination.
Knowing that you've now won at the world stage, you said belief had changed. Was this what carried you through the next 2 years into Athens? Was this the big difference?
So I learned a lot from the shooters who were already shooting. So once you've tasted blood, you know that, and you have a sense of belief, you will always be there. Every competition used to be something that you had to prove again. So you never could carry your past performance in your pocket. Everybody has to start at the 0 point. And in fact, I'd started relishing the fact that you all start from zero. And so there is a lot of similarity between going into battle and doing this.
Could you take us through the 17th of August?
I remember people would ask me, so at that point of time nobody knew me, and somebody asked me that, what do you think of the Olympics? And I said, I'll be in the top 6. I said, rest I can't guarantee, but I'll be there in the top 6. And once I was there in the top 6, I'd worked so hard that I said, now I'm not going to leave it. It's too close.
But this is the moment, and this is what I want to know. It's a fear of failure that makes you do some of the most bizarre things. So for someone who's worked so hard and it's just there, it's that final step that you need to take. How do you overcome that fear of failure, especially in a sport where it's only you talking to yourself, those few seconds that are probably going to change the course of history? How does one do it? How did you do it?
Everyone wants to win, right? But you can't think of winning at that point of time. At that point of time, you have to think of performing. But what you have to focus on at that point of time is the thrill of killing that target, is the thrill of dominating that target. In 99.9% I will hit it. That 1.1%, I care a damn.
But that period, 25 medals in almost those 4 years, that fairy tale period, did it then after the Olympics become a bit of second nature when you know you're right up there, your rankings amongst the top? Did that give you a sense of accomplishment, or you were still hungry looking ahead?
You know, after every competition, you feel like throwing your gun because it just takes away every bit of energy from you. But after a couple of days, you want to go back in again. So if you're a champion, then you're meant to fight. It's not the number of trophies that you have that satisfies you. It's the next trophy that you want to get. Right, so that's the thrill of the competition.
Colonel Rathore, it's been an absolute pleasure. As a sports fan and someone who got an opportunity to conduct this, well, I'm sure the army man in him might never say this because he's still hungry for more. But for all the fans to get to know what goes on in the mind of a legend and a champion, hopefully at the end of the show you'd say that's mission accomplished.
Who is right next to me is an absolute legend in every sense of the term. He made India proud, an individual gold medalist at the Olympics. Fair to say, he hit the mark almost every time, spot on. Abhinav Bindra, thank you so much for speaking to us on this very, very special episode. The month of August, when we talk about this particular month, when we talk about historic achievements, one of the things that really strikes every one of us Indians is your achievement. Way back in time, I might add, because we are fair distance away from what happened, but still fresh in your memory, those days?
Not at all.
Not at all?
Not at all. It's been 10 years and
Yeah, I don't live. Like in sport, I try and live my life in the present. I don't live in the past. When you're involved in sport, yesterday never counts. I had a good day 10 years ago, and that's it.
Just to recollect that particular moment in terms of how you went about with that final shot at glory.
I think what I remember very distinctly was that I was aggressive. I went for it. I took my chances, and that's how sport is. You have to take your chances. You'll win some, you lose some. But fortunately for me, it went my way on that particular day.
Sorry, how were you introduced to shooting?
By a family friend, where I just went and shot. There was always a little bit of interest, but that got my imagination, and then over a period of time, I became addicted to it, and of course I had to work a lot on the physical element of it. It was never my strong point, but over time it became my strong point. I always surrounded myself with very positive people, and that was something which was very, very important to me, because naturally I am not a positive person.
You're not?
Not at all. I'm a realistic kind of a person. I am almost a negative person in reality, and that's not a good combination to have in sport, and that meant that I always had to surround myself with positivity and positive people, because in sport you'll face more failure than successes, and I faced many failures in my career, and there were many moments where I felt hopeless.
Tell us a little bit more about, kind of saying that you're not talented and therefore starting off from that particular point.
I was a fat boy, I was uncoordinated, I had terrible pairs of eyes. In a sport which requires a good amount of vision, I was uncoordinated, I had zero balance. So I was not talented, naturally gifted in that sense. But I certainly had a lot of talent, and my talent was to work hard. That in itself is a talent, and that's what I did. I just kept at it, I kept persevering at it, and in every element which may have not come naturally to me, but over putting in the work, putting in the hard hours of training, got me where I needed to be.
I'm sure as athletes, we've heard from so many athletes that there have been moments in their careers they've felt really down and out, possibly even a point in time when they've said, enough's enough, I'm not going to go on.
No, that was how I felt every second day. Well, it was difficult. Obviously, failure is hard, failure is disappointing, failure sucks, and you feel bad and you feel horrible. But I think at that time, there are no fancy answers. I can tell you a lot of interesting things, that this one helped me, that one helped me, but end of the day, time is the best healer. You have to face your failures, you have to look at them into the eye, and over time you find that energy again. I think both failure and both successes are draining. And I think the most important thing is to first energize and to find your energy again. Once you find your energy again, then you're healed, and then you find that interest and spark back to get back to the boring and mundane. And the boring and mundane is to go back to training and go back to the process of your sport and to try and just execute your skill, which you love. That's what gets you back on the road again, and that's what step by step you get back on track, and then you start to prepare for your next event, prepare for the next competition, and then over time everything's already forgotten.
Lovely. I'll tell you what, we could go on forever with Abhinav Bindra, but we're just about running out of time. Abhinav Bindra, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Dhoni is the most destructive batsman.
He changed the fate of Indian cricket. I think Dhoni is the biggest legend Indian cricket's ever had.
So many questions we'd obviously want to ask you, Mahi. You've achieved so much, but let's start back in the day where it all started. This love for sport, this love for cricket. It's always there in your childhood?
Yes, the reason being, we used to live in a colony, and it was quite a big colony, and there was a stadium playground right next to where we lived. It was hardly like 15 meters And for me, it was more about turning 4 o'clock in the evening, going to have some fun, because that was the time allotted for us to play cricket or whatever the sport may be. It was rainy season, we would play soccer, football, or if it was some other season, we would some other sport. So it was always part of us, to go and enjoy the evening, and that's where it all started. And it became a bit competitive because in the colony you have kids of the same age group, so you want to compete against each other and win. So every evening was special. After coming back from school and studying for maybe an hour or hour and a half, going to the playground and having this fierce competition because you want to win. So that's how it all started, and it helped us.
So you did homework first and then went to study. What sort of person are you? We saw you see you're so serious, so cool, but you're not at all.
It's difficult, because to actually describe myself in words, I'm very honest. I don't lie, but that doesn't mean I always say the truth. I'm someone who may keep quiet, but rather than lying about something, I would prefer being quiet, because I feel it's something that's very important. And also, I won't say just because somebody is saying something and to whom I can't reply, no, you are wrong.
Right.
I'm not very blunt about stuff, but at the same time, there are few principles that I follow, and I like my life to run on those principles, on the safer side, because it becomes a bit easy. The moment you don't have any principles of the sort, it becomes very difficult to pick and choose. So when you run on principles, you run on a definite path, and it becomes easy for you to conduct yourself. And I'm a fun-loving person. I love to have fun. I love to meet people, but I love informal interactions more than formal interactions.
You're a colonel in the army, General. Army is a big part of your life?
Yes.
Or it's an important part of your life?
Right from the start. I remember initially I wanted to be part of the Air Force. This must be like the late 80s. I saw a fighter plane. I was like, I want to fly that. Then I started to interact with people, and that's Air Force, that's a fighter plane, makes a lot of noise, it travels very fast. So I wanted to be a fighter pilot, and I joined NCC when I was in school. I did I got my first certificate with them, and at that point I realized, flying a fighter plane is not like riding a car. Apart from that skill, you need to have good understanding about maths, geography, and a lot of other things. I was like, it's not really something that I can do. But there was a lot of presence in Ranchi. The presence of army was strongly felt. We had a Kant area, which was Dipatoli. The next small city was Namkum, again a strong military presence. Then we had Ramgarh, which was 45 kilometers. And you had a big cantonment area there. So we were very used to seeing these big military vehicles coming and dropping off their students in our school, and the men in uniform, they always attracted me. So then I realized I want to be in the army. I thought it was slightly easy. I never realized you have to go through a lot of hard work to be part of the army. But by that time I started playing cricket. So this was more like a real dream. When you talk about playing for the country, when I said, I never thought that I'll play for the country. I wanted to have fun, play cricket, but I never thought I'll represent the country. But army was something that was more sort of a dream for me. I thought I want to get into the army. So it was always in the back of my mind, because I started playing cricket, and that point of time I realized this will be my career. So army took the back foot at that point of time. But finally, when we won the 2011 World Cup, I went and met the army chief, and I said, I'll be very interested in joining the army. In what way, I'm not really sure about it, but if something can be done. And that was the time he, through proper channels, took it up, and finally I got an opportunity to be part of the army. And I joined the parachute regiment, one of the most elite units of the Indian Army. 106 Para TA is my unit. So it's always special. The reason being, army is one place where everybody is equal. The concept of uniform is to bring everybody on the same platform. And the fact that they have a very tough life, they shift bases every third year or fourth year. with their whole family is something that's very difficult to do. But at the same time, whenever you meet any of those, whether it's Jawan or an officer, they have a big smile on their face. They're very proud of what they are doing.
You have captained the greats, and you captain this next young Indian team. What was the difference? I mean, it's not just about managing the egos. What is the biggest difference, when the greats retired and then you had this young side to take over?
With the greats, what happens is they've got a lot of experience. And with that, what happens is they almost 10% of the time, they know what needs to be done. When you go through a difficult period or when the team is not doing well, you know that they know what they need to do, what or how they need to contribute and everything. With the youngsters, at times, you have to say even the most basic of things.
Right.
Because you don't know what they're thinking. And you shouldn't assume that this is very common and this is what they should be thinking. So you actually tell them this is what needs to be done. So even if they're thinking the same thing, they just get that added confidence that yes, they were thinking the right thing and let's move ahead with it.
You've got the World Cups, the T20s, the World Cup, the Champions Trophy. You are the most successful Indian one-day captain. Do you think of records?
No.
At all?
But
do you realize that that is what you are?
No, but it's not the records that are important. What's important is when you think more about representing the country, what you really want is your team to win matches. Irrespective of where you're playing or who's contributing. So, it's not the trophies that really matter. Again, because trophies are the result of the amount of effort you're putting in or how you're preparing or what the team environment is. So, we think more about the process than the result. And it's proven that when you take care of the processes and when you know what needs to be done and you put in more effort in that, the results will be in your favor.
Well said, Mahi. Thank you so much. It's been a privilege.